It's to make me feel guilty for all the bad things that I've ever done. It's to make me, it's to remind me what a wretch I am, what a bad person I am. Oh, it's horrible. God, I can't believe you saved me. It's like somehow it's like, yeah, the law's good. Whoa, wait. Why does Romans 8, chapter 8, verse 1 say, there is now, therefore, no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus? That guilt thing, that condemnation thing that we felt on this side of Christ, which was meant to drive us to Christ, is not what the law is intended to do over here now that we're in Christ. Because while over there it produced guilt, over here it produces guidance. Because every law of God is basically a law that says, here is how you do the loving thing. That's why Jesus, when he was asked a question one time, what's the most important command? Boy, that's a tough question. He said, that's a piece of cake. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then Jesus went out and he clarified, because all the law is built on that. You know what he's saying? Every law, every thou shalt not, every do this, every do that, that's just letting us know, here's how you really love. If you love people, don't do that. If you love people, do this. If you love people, don't say that. If you love people, say this. Every command of God is guidance from God on how to love. Which is why, when we obey what the law says, we are acting in a loving fashion. Have you ever looked at the law of God that way? It's just helping us know, here's how to love in a way that's healthy. Here's how to love in a way that's powerful. Here's how to love in a way that's transformational. Love like this. Love like this. Now, when we peruse the law of God, we find there are certain things that are so bedrock, so fundamental, that every relationship we have, to varying degrees, but every relationship we have, there are certain things that totally, they have to be present to even think about us being able to say, I'm really loving someone. And I just want to share a couple of them real quickly right before we go. Here's one. Every real love is always expressed this way, in forgiveness. Forgiveness. Sure, people are going to hurt you. They're going to wrong you. They're going to act in ways that are not right, that are going to make your life harder and more complicated. Happens to us all. Here's what we need to do. Get over it. Let it go. Stop thinking about it. Stop dwelling on it. Stop punishing other people because they hurt you. Stop it. Because 1 Corinthians 13 says that love, here's how you express it. It keeps no record of wrongs. Just let it go. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the resentment. Stop punishing people. Stop holding it over people. Stop making people feel guilty about it. Cut it out. Forgive them. Let it go. That's what love drives us to do. When I was growing up, I would, on a rare occasion, do something wrong. Now, you can call my parents, because they're old enough now, they've forgotten most of it. And one of the things that would sometimes happen to me when I would do something wrong is I would be sent to my room. Now, back in those days, your room really was a prison. There was no computer, there was no cell phone, there was no texting, you were cut off from the world when you went into your room. And I can remember times I'm sitting there, and it's just like, this is horrible, because number one, I felt guilty over what I had done. I did. I felt bad. I knew it was something I shouldn't have done. I felt guilty about it. And I felt so relationally disconnected from my parents. It's like, man, I may be in my room, but I feel like I'm a million miles away. And so I am in this room, and I am feeling guilty, and I am feeling relationally disconnected. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. Here's the deal. When someone sins against you, when they act in ways that hurt you, that make your life harder and more complicated, listen, 99 times out of 100, they have set themselves to a relational room where they feel guilty and relationally disconnected. They may not look like it, they may not act like it, they may not talk like it, but mark it down. When somebody does something like that to you and they're aware of it, they are in a room where they feel guilty, they feel a sense of condemnation, and they feel relationally disconnected from you, wondering whether it can ever really be right or good again. Because that's just what happens in human beings when they sin against one another. God made us that way. And then God actually works to fuel that dynamic. And so the person who hurts you is in a room where they feel guilt and condemnation. What they have done begins to define themselves in their own mind, and they feel very relationally disconnected, and that is torture. But you hold the key to let them out. You do. A key is called forgiveness, and you can walk right over to that relational room, and you can unlock the door, and you can open it up, and you can say, come on out. You're forgiven. You and me, we're going to be okay now. And you don't have to feel guilty over what was done. We're going to move past it again. You have the power to do that by forgiving. Because you know what we'd rather do many times? Let them stew in the room. They deserve to be in that room. Do you know what they did to me? You know how much that hurt? You know how much harder my life is right now because of that? They deserve to be in that room, and you're absolutely right. And I deserve to be in that room too with God. But His love came and opened the door to forgiveness and relational closeness. And it's that kind of love that flows into me and through me. And it's that love that compels me to open that door and say, come out of the room of guilt, and now we're going to be relationally right with each other. Love always forgives. If you're not forgiving, you're not loving Him. Here's the second thing love always does. It accepts. Romans 15 and verse 7 says, therefore accept one another, even as God for Christ's sake has accepted you. Accepts. Here's a good way to look at accept. I came across this in the last week or so. Powerful way of stating it. Stop changing. Start cherishing. That's acceptance. Yes, the people that are in the relational world, those people have idiosyncrasies, they have flaws, they have weaknesses that are sometimes very irritating. And for some reason we feel compelled, because it almost feels the right thing to do. I'm going to help you fix that stuff. I'm going to change you. I'm going to help you to become what you were always meant to be by fixing what's wrong with you. And it feels like that's the loving thing to do. When we send a message of rejection by doing it. You know, it's fascinating. There's a football team. I don't actually like this team. I don't like them at all, but they have a very good coach and they're extremely successful. The team is the New England Patriots, and the coach is Bill Belichick. And I read something very interesting that Bill Belichick said back, this was months ago, maybe a year ago. Because they were saying, why is it that there are free agents that you pick up that didn't seem to do much on another team, and they come to your team, and they seem to really fit in and excel? They were real contributors when they weren't before.